track of the time in which the game time, essentially, or like the world delta seconds or whatever we want to use. We're not going to use a delta time though. We're not keeping track of our own delta. We don't need world delta. We're just going to do like game time in seconds. I'll just set this. I mean, we could just do a timer though at this point, you know. See, I'm thinking tap time. Tap time max. This can get put under our touch input. And we're going to put it as like 0.2. We'll have to mess with that, but let's just make it a timer. So we're going to do a function. Tap time timer. Tap check timer. Check tap timer. We're going to check if we are tapping or if we're not. So we are going to make a boolean be input tap or be tap input. Or if it's not a tap input, then we're actually going to put it on our input. So essentially we have X amount of seconds for this to happen, right? Might as well just do like a delay. Jeez, this is getting too complicated. We're deleting that. We're going back here. Let's start moving some things around instead. Start making this a little cleaner. So when we press something, we're going to be starting a delay to figure out whether we released it before that time or not, right? Yeah, so when we do this, we set this as a... Damn. What's the best way? So that's the thing. Like, we could throw something in here real easy, but I don't want to do a gate and, like, just try and mess with a bunch of wires. I want to make this as clean as possible. Yeah, let's do, we could just do a timer. We could do it by an event, technically. No, not create event, I mean custom. Time max. And essentially what happens is we say we're doing a tap input when we first touch. And by the time this timer goes off, we are no longer doing a tap input. Tap timer event. Do we even need to do a release then? I think that's it. That actually should work, right? So this is pretty clear. We don't need an extra function. We can just do set the timer. When the timer's up, we're no longer doing the boolean. Which means that in my thing here, touch look, we can only be in a touch look. We also can't be doing a tap. And this is not true. So you technically have to wait 0.2 seconds before you can look around, but that's okay. You know, it won't be that bad. Let's collapse these nodes. Can look. And that's basically just saying that, hey, you're not tapping anything, and we're able to do the touch to look stuff in case we want to turn it off for some reason, like when you're in combat and everything. Okay, so I don't need to do anything else, right? In my head, this feels like it's too easy. This can't be this easy. There's going to be a problem. Yeah, now I can't tap to move. Let's see why. What did I screw up? Oh, I didn't do this. Tap input. Yeah, that should be it. I swear that purple thing wasn't in there before. Not that it really matters. Eventually, you switch it out to something a lot smaller and more simplistic. Like a little. I think they had a thing for it in. This was a long time ago in their touch kind of showcase, where it's like a little ripple effect. Something like that would be kind of nice. Some things that we can change real quick. The character, has no acceleration when doing pathfinding. It's just a simple change to our navigation stuff. Use acceleration for paths. Yeah. Acceleration is still pretty quick, just because I don't want it to be completely instantaneous. So let's do some stuff. Let's do walk speed and things like that too. Let's go down to 500 for walk speed, crouch 300. Acceleration, we're going to do 1200. And deceleration, we're going to do 600. No, we can do more like 1600. Falling, flying, swimming, we don't need that. For navigation, use fixed braking distance. Sure, let's do when you're 100 units away, we start braking. Let's see how that feels. That's not bad. Look at that. There we go. Still a little tiny bit of a delay, though, you can see. So something else we can do is, instead of checking the time, we can check the time and to see if they're moving the camera already. If like the distance between point A and point B is like the start and the end is large enough. That way there's no delay at all if you start to move the camera. Still feels pretty nice. Okay, let's also do that then. So we have, this is fine, touch location current. We're also going to do a new variable for the start. Touch location start, touch location end, location. Touch location start. Touch location start. And what it's going to do is say, hey, as we're updating this, we can just see if we can cancel the tap, because that's more important. So this timer here can just go, and no matter what, it can turn it off at the end there. However, in here, what we can also do is say, hey, the start, and let's put in the end right away. just because we might as well have it available if we need it later. Okay. And this isn't really going to do anything right now, but, you know, again, in case we need it. Okay, so what we're going to say is vector minus vector, and we're going to get the length. So whatever our current is, we're going to, again, do length squared. Now, when we tap, you have like a certain amount of space we can deal with. And again, in terms of being able to ship with this, I am not 100% sure how the touch location stuff works for Unreal. So we, again, you know, I'm subtracting these things to get the distance between different touch points, but I think it has to do with pixels, which we'll have to apply to like a scaling system, like a percentage or something like that, as opposed to just doing these raw numbers. But right now, I don't care. That's something that, again, I have not dealt with very much. But this, let's actually just see what a good feeling amount would be. I'm assuming like what I had like I clamped it down to like what did I clamp this down to? 60 pixels, I think it is, or whatever they're doing. So I'm thinking like 10. If you move it beyond 10, you're starting to move the camera, right? Whoops, that's not the right thing, but yeah. Vector like squared though, that's what I was trying to figure out. So because it's going to be a much larger number, I'm trying to think of what a good amount would be. It's going to be not doing the square root, so we're going to have a squared number. I'm seeing like 2,000, 4,000, 8,000, or, you know, a lot higher, but yeah. So I'm thinking, let's try, I don't know, like 2,000 or something. This is greater than 2,000. Oops. We can also just do this as a group as well. Check, tap, move, abort. So it's we're aborting the tap if we're moving a lot, if we're dragging around the screen. Then, because it doesn't matter what we do in here, it's just we're going to say tap inputs false. And we only have to do this check if we are currently in the tap state. So once we're out of it, we don't have to do any of this anymore. So we're just going to do another branch and say tap. Again, we can do that. Pop all this down slightly, and let's give it a comment. Yeah, I'm surprised that turned out really easy. Abort tap based on distance swiped, or just say moved. It's not necessarily a swipe. I don't know if swiped has 2 P's or 1 P. Doesn't matter, it's fine. Everything leads out, so everything will connect. That's fine. And let's try it. Yeah, so it's like instantaneous. And then let's see if we can move just slightly. You can still tap pretty easy. Yeah, it's a pretty good feel. Maybe it's a little bit too low. Let's make it slightly bigger. Of course, this again can be like a slider then too. You know, a min-max of like, you know, that the tiniest amount I can do. Or yeah, it's feeling pretty good. I would say just slightly more, like that 4K is going to be a good amount. That way you can have like a tap sensitivity setting. Still not quite there. We could also scale it based on time, so you know, it starts off distance is way bigger, but as the time goes on, it's like 0.2 seconds though. I wonder if touch current and stuff is messing with it though. Because does touch current get updated in time for it to happen? Well, this happens in here. So yeah, touch current gets updated with our previous, or not with our previous gets updated. This is the most current. So yeah. Still doesn't quite feel right. Maybe just needs a tiny bit more. I'm starting to get pretty high up though. Although this still is pretty instantaneous. Somewhere in here will be good. Okay. Not bad. Okay. Alright, a couple things to think about though. One is, are we going to be doing different weapons and stuff? I think we might as well prepare for different weapons, like players being able to pick up different weapons. It's a little different than what these guys have. So their weapon is always a part of them for Paragon, because you don't ever switch the weapons out, you know. For this game, there is a possibility that the player and, well, I don't know about these guys, we'll get there, can swap their weapons out. So I think we're going to set up weapons as a separate blueprint, at least for the player. For enemies, it could be different. It could be a part of them or something. But we have these weapons, and filters, and this is the standard sword and shield that came with this character. So under blueprints, let's do a new folder called weapons. Actor class called puzzle box weapon. That's gonna be my parent class. And by default, I am just gonna give it the sword though. Static mesh, weapon mesh. Okay, so we got this. This is great, and everything's wonderful. But let's do a box collision, because that'll be a little bit easier for us to kind of mess with then. Does this have like a midpoint on it? Yeah, it does. Ooh, thank you, Epic. I didn't set that up, so they must have. Okay. want to give it a pretty beefy hitbox. Nothing too beefy, but pretty big and kind of nice size for being able to hit a lot of people pretty easy. Let's not flip upside down. There we go. Okay, we can actually increase this by 1. Maybe even one more. 5 by 8 by 40. Seems pretty good, and it even goes past the hilt a little bit. Although once we get... we could do this a little bit more. Let's do this like... Yeah, 40's fine there. It's fine to be at the center and be a little down. Up in collision. And this is going to be overlap all dynamic. No, generate overlap is correct. We need some variables like the attacking so that we know when to turn on and off damage. And we also need to do a int for damage max or damage in general. Damage amount. Because I don't think we're going to be doing randomization or anything like that. But we got that. That's good. We also have a shield, which we could probably do switching out stuff like and we can just toss in the begin and end overlap stuff real quick. So in here you got these two. We're just going to try and do a damage. It's not really a point damage, so I guess we're just going to do it like this. I guess we could do a point damage. Can't we? Sweep result, yeah. This will be the hit invo. Hit from direction is going to be wherever our owner is. Good owner. Get actor location, and we can do base damage. Of course, it has to be float. We could just make it a float then. It's annoying. Just working whole numbers in a float. We also should check if we can do damage, though. We don't need an end overlap, actually. I don't think there's any reason. The controller, owner, and then this is going to be get controller. Right? The event instigator is the controller who did this thing. Yeah. And the damage causer is going to be this pawn, because the pawn is going to spawn this, or it's going to pick it up or do whatever. So the pawn's going to be the one that we say, hey, has this weapon, you know. once the pawn dies, it's not like the controller keeps the weapon. We're just going to respawn everything. Okay. Hit from direction, though. Location, we're going to have to do this minus that. Which direction is it? I think it might be like this. Location, and then normalize. I really need to remember these things. Yeah, I would not make a good programmer. Only if we're attacking, although we'll try and say if we're attacking or not attacking. Then we turn on and off the collision. This is kind of like a fail-safe. Okay, damage amount is going to be, I don't know, 1 damage each time. We have 3 health, so go back into our characters. We're going to have to turn this into floats, unfortunately. Oh, well, that'll be alright. I don't want to keep converting back and forth. Okay, weapon. How do I kind of space this out a little better? Okay, that's good enough. That's not super legible, but whatever. It'll be alright. Okay, so what else do we need for this weapon? We also should do things like the thing I mentioned to you before, which was turning on and off collision and stuff based on whether it's, here or not, or attacking. I mean, not here, but attacking. Equipped is going to be whether it should be like in the player's hand or not. Because if they unequip, it disappears. So let's do another one called be equipped. Let's put this under combat. And this one under inventory. Although I don't think we have like a legitimate inventory. I don't know how it's going to work exactly. Zelda still has an inventory, but it's not always as crazy as what Breath of the Wild essentially did. You typically have the one sword and that's it. Like Wind Waker, you can pick up enemies' weapons and you put your sword away. You can't bring that sword with you. It eventually disappears. You throw it, and you use it or do whatever. So we do need a way to like put the sword away, like that. Maybe it doesn't disappear; it just goes in the back, like slot or whatever. Why can't I think of the term? Not holster, but sword sheath, or why can't I? Doesn't matter. We got this. We got the sword. We got this stuff. Let's do functions for it so that I can just very easily call. Well, no. We're going to be doing things the right way. Instead, we're going to be doing a blueprint interface. Weapons. This is going to be enter attacking, exit attacking, and this is going to be what do you want to call it? Equip, or I wonder if this is like an item as well. No, it's fine. Equip weapon, weapon. Okay. So that should be fine. We'll go back into our weapons. Let's implement this.